Imagine getting paid just for sharing your thoughts on products and services you use every day. With Survey Junkie, it's that simple. Click on the link in the video description to discover how you can start earning today by taking surveys.
Timothee Chalamet has already shown a knack for channeling Bob Dylan's timeless cool aura from the 1960s, but on Wednesday he and his co-star Elle Fanning tried to reveal the rarely glimpsed tender side of the music icon. The 28-year-old Dune star and 26-year-old Neon Demon actress, who is playing Dylan's early 60s girlfriend Susie Rotolo, were spotted out in Hoboken, New Jersey, as they filmed a scene in which they appeared to have an intimate conversation while strolling down the sidewalk and holding hands. The scene was on deck just a day after Timothee and Elle had filmed one on the steps leading up to a brownstone while wearing winter jackets, which somewhat resembled the cover photo of his iconic 1963 sophomore album The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. For the shoot on Wednesday, Timothee, who shot multiple scenes on a motorcycle last week, was dressed in a brown striped button-up shirt that he wore with rolled-up sleeves. He tucked it into a pair of relaxed-fit jeans with a slim brown leather belt, and he added a rugged pair of dark brown cowboy boots that had been scuffed up on the toes. Timothee wore her dark hair in a fluffy curled hairdo similar to Dylan's voluminous 60s hair, though it was closer to the more reserved hairdos of 1962 or 63 than the more voluminous hair Dylan wore in 65 and 66 as he went electric. Elle was dressed casually in a black tank top style sweater that showed off her trim arms. She wore a set of high-waisted dark blue jeans and sleek black loafers while carrying a large brown handbag made of heavily scuffed leather. Her normally blonde hair was dyed in a golden brown hue, and she wore it with a side part and slightly wavy locks that were draped across her shoulders. She held hands with Timothee and appeared to have a conversation on camera with him while he held a modest coffee cup in his free hand. The two seemed to be having a blast, and Elle scrunched her face up with laughter when Timothee said something funny on camera. A Complete Unknown, which is directed and co-written by Logan and Ford V, Ferrari filmmaker James Mangold, traces Dylan's move to New York City in 1961 to establish himself as a folk singer. The film follows his astounding artistic development in the first half of the decade, which saw him move on from protest songs and folk standards to forming a band and going electric. The move was controversial at the time, and Dylan angered many fans of his more introspective folk music with the turn toward rock, though he would go on to record some of the greatest albums of the decade in short succession after the transition. Elle was also seen on her own in another scene filmed on Wednesday in which she wore a new costume. She had on a muted gray, black and brown striped button-up blouse tucked into a black midi skirt, and she paired it with black stockings and modest black heels. She covered up with a brown and beige floral print tweed jacket, and she carried a green coat on her arm while grasping gray and green suitcases. The scene may have been related to Susie Rotolo's 1962 trip to Italy with her mother, which she later informed Dylan had been extended to what would eventually be 6 months away from home. During their time apart, the musician wrote some of his greatest early love songs, most have which appeared in his set lists here and there for decades to come, including Don't Think Twice, It's Alright, One Too Many Mornings, Tomorrow is a Long Time and Boots of Spanish Leather. Rotolo's leftist upbringing is also said to have influenced Dylan's political awakening in the early 60s, and he has credited her with piquing his interest in the French poet Arthur Rimbaud and the playwright Bertolt Brecht, both of whom he credits with influencing his songwriting. A Complete Unknown, which is co-written by Jay Cox, does not yet have a release date.